What's up, people? It's your girl Adeola. Wasn't it about 3 weeks ago that we gave South Africa about $10 million? I heard that we've dashed them another $5 million trying to buy another set of weapons from a dealer whose license and registration has expired. So South Africa sees that money too. That's about $15 million right now, right? Yeah. But you know, pull that aside. Last week, a video started circulating of a Nigerian Air Force commander who was beheaded by Boko Haram. On September 11, Wing Commander Chimda Hedima and his co-pilot were assigned a mission in Borno State, but their aircraft was shot down by the terrorist group Boko Haram. We know this because they managed to send a radio signal to their office that they've been shot down by Boko Haram before both of the pilots parachuted at the last minute. So for about 3 weeks, the Nigerian army said that the aircraft was missing. They never once said that the pilots radioed that they were about to crash. There was no report of anyone going to look for the two pilots, whether dead or alive, even though they claim that they are looking for the jet. They are yet to tell us exactly where they've been looking until last week when Boko Haram announced that they've beheaded one of the pilots. And the picture was everywhere. And I was shocked when the Nigerian military denied that the man in that picture is an Air Force pilot. They said that the picture was superimposed, that it was photoshopped. Later on, Boko Haram released the video, and the man in the video identified himself as a Nigerian pilot. Again, the Nigerian military denied that the video was real. I'd like you guys to listen to the man in the video. I'm not showing you anything graphic. I just want you to listen to what he said.
I am a pilot of the Nigerian Air Force and I fly the jet. On the 11th of September 2014, I was assigned to undertake a mission to Kauri area of Borno State. And during this mission, we were shot down and our aircraft crashed. This day, I don't know the whereabouts of my second pilot. That's what he said.
It's so unfortunate that they cut off his head right after he said those things. Okay, so yeah, they are now acting like ISIS. Of course, the AFP, that's the Associated Foreign Press, asked whether the man in that video was really an Air Force pilot, as he claimed. They asked the Air Force spokesman, that's Air Commodore Dele Alunge, and this is what he said. The man shown in the Boko Haram video is not our officer. In other words, they're saying that the man was lying, even though he knew Boko Haram was about to kill him. That's what they're telling us. And then they said, the picture of a man beheaded in the video is superimposed. Our plane is still missing and we are still looking for it. Wait a minute. I thought that I saw Boko Haram stepping on the remains of the plane. Okay, so what does he mean by we're still looking for it? Like, really? Boko Haram is just making unfounded claims. You call these unfounded claims? They beheaded a human being, Okay, so then the AFP contacted the spokesperson of the defense headquarters, Major General Chris Olukolade, and that's the man who announced the previous week that Shekau was dead. And then Shekau was like, hey, I'm not dead, I'm alive. So they asked him, you know, this is a yes or no question. Can you recognize this man? Was he really an Air Force pilot? That was the question. And this is what Olukolade said. No level or amount of barbaric display of bestial atrocities will distract the Nigerian military from sustaining the tempo of ongoing operations to decimate, degrade, and bring the remnants of the terrorists already in disarray to justice. What in the world? What does that even mean anything? What is this? The campaign against terror is still recording the expected result in the front. Nigerians should not despair. Yeah, right. To me, this means absolutely nothing. Mere jargons. Can you imagine how insensitive these people are? Since you keep telling us that this is not your man, where is Wing Commander Chimda Hedima? Where is he? At least we know that he's an Air Force pilot. That you cannot deny. I mean, this was him in your uniform with other pilots. How do you deny this? And then this is the same guy flying your jet. And then this is him in another of your uniform. And we are not blind to see that this is still the same man in the video. So if you're telling us that this is not him, then where is he? Why don't you produce him? I have not heard anything from the presidency acknowledging that this happened. It's been more than a week that Boko Haram released the video. You don't appreciate those who sacrifice their lives for Nigeria. Yet, you get upset when soldiers refuse to die for Nigeria. You are sentencing ill-equipped soldiers to death because they refuse to face Boko Haram. I know that they swore an oath, but isn't it glaring that someone in the military is deliberately facilitating the killing of so many of our soldiers? Sending them to face terrorists without adequate weapons is suicidal. It's like you send your child to school, you don't give him or her the textbook needed or anything to write with or even notebooks or anything, and you're expecting this same child to do well in school? No, it's not gonna happen. So if the child refuses to go to school, don't blame the child. It is suicidal. And after seeing how the government and the military has reacted to this video, why would anyone want to die for Nigeria? So why prosecuting the soldiers when you fail to equip them with the necessary weapons? They denied this man even in death. In death, you deny somebody in death. You heard the guy saying Boko Haram is just making unfounded claims. Why do we like to put up a false image in Nigeria? We don't want the world to know that our girls are missing. So those who are protesting, we decided to arrest them so that the world won't know that our girls are missing. Our first lady went for surgery in Germany and we said that she was on vacation. No, we don't want the world to know. It's all about putting up a false image. NTA, that is the Nigerian Television Authority, they've never given an accurate number of casualties. There's something they call integrity, my people. The Nigerian government has to learn what is called integrity. Our military has to learn, not just our leaders, all Nigerians, we have to learn. We need to stop denying the truth when it's so glaring. So for all the family members of Commander Chimda Hidima and his friends, please accept our condolences, our deepest condolences. We recognize his heroic act. All Nigerians all over the world, we recognize his heroic act and that of all others that have laid down their lives for Nigeria. He was 39 years old when he died. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. I'd like to give a shout out today to a Nigerian school teacher who decided to renovate her classroom with her own money. Yeah, with her own money. In 2011, Mrs. Ayoade Okpeogun was transferred to Methodist Nursery and Primary School in Abeokuta, that's Ogun State of Nigeria, and there she complained that the class was not conducive for learning. The buildings were dilapidated. The floor of the room where she would be teaching was not done. I read that there were potholes in the classroom. I was like, okay, that's messed up. The ceiling was falling off. In short, she said she couldn't teach in such an environment and that it's not the best for the students to learn. So the school reported the issue to the government, but nothing was done. So after a while, they told her, hey, stop complaining, do whatever you have to do to get the class to be conducive. And guess what she did? She decided to renovate the classroom by herself. She brought in a bricklayer to replaster the floor, and you should see the excitement of the kids when they got to the classroom and the floor was done. That made a huge difference. And this woman decided to go further. She got someone to fix the ceiling and the roof. Normal leakage and the heat of the sun is reduced somewhat because now we have ceiling. Hey, how great is that? And then she repainted the walls inside the classroom and outside the classroom. So you can imagine the excitement of the kids when they got to school and their classroom was painted. She went further and bought educational nursery materials, several teaching and learning aids, including this television. To some of you, this is a small TV, but this means the whole world to these students. And she also bought a DVD player and picture chat. And then she bought the standing fan that you're seeing in order to keep the children cool while they're learning, as well as window blinds. The only problem is there was no electricity, but guess what? She didn't let that stop her. She went to the power holding office, and guess what? The people at the power holding company were really touched by what she had done so far that they decided to come and install electricity in her classroom. So she did everything by herself. At the end of the day, she spent 400,000 naira. That's about $2,600. Now that is an example of not waiting for the government to act. If she's waiting for the government to renovate the school, I'm pretty sure she will still be waiting, because I know that it won't be just her classroom that was dilapidated. I'm sure that the whole school was dilapidated and she will still be waiting for her classroom to be renovated. I honestly didn't know that we still have people like this that are so selfless, people that would do that. I really think that she should be appreciated, at least by the state government, for going extra length, for doing this, because this is a selfless act that will affect the academic performance and the comfort of the students. And by that, I'm not talking about sending her an appreciation letter like the one sent by Ogun State Universal Basic Education Board. Can you believe what they wrote in the letter? They wrote her a letter of commendation, right? And then they said they are urging other teachers worldwide to emulate her gesture. See, so now they want all teachers to be fixing their classrooms, and I'm like, what? Not everybody would have this kind of money when the minimum wage is 18,000 naira. And if they do, are you excusing the government from doing its job? I beg you, give the woman something that would make others want to make a difference like she did. Not just a letter. Now letter we go chop. Somebody don't spend 400,000 naira. Now letter we go chop. I beg you. Forget that one, Ojari. But in case Mrs. Adeola is watching or someone that knows her, we just want her to know that we are very, very proud of what she's done. Thank you so much for all that you've done. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Moving on to Kenya, I recently saw a video of traffic officers who collect money from road drivers getting busted. Take a look.
The anti-corruption officers decided to pounce, with the officers trying to dash off. This female officer was not so lucky that she was roughed up by the anti-graft officers. During a closer inspection in this pickup truck parked by the roadside, they had stashed their loot. It is alleged that the officers demand for bribes from the matatu operators plying the route, and the operators could not hide their joy at the turn of events. A thorough search was conducted to find if anything else was being hidden. The disgraced officers were marched to the anti-corruption headquarters where they're waiting to be charged.
Yeah, so you see, so that actually happened in 2010. It isn't old news, I know, yet I really commend the Kenyan Anti-Corruption Commission for doing that, because I honestly would love, oh my God, I would love to see that happen in Nigeria. Like seriously, I would love to see that. And you know, in other African countries as well, wherever police or soldiers are setting up checkpoints just to milk people, just to collect money from drivers. Hopefully though, that was not a one-time thing in Kenya. I mean, it's been 4 years. I hope that they're still busting them. And guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Still on Kenya, I had a story of one woman, and that story broke my heart. I'm talking about Joyce Nyawira, who moved to Saudi Arabia in June of this year to start a lucrative job that was promised by her Saudi agent. In fact, he sent her the contract of the job before leaving Kenya, and the contract stated that she would be serving a royal family in Riyadh. That is the capital city of Saudi Arabia. But when she landed in Saudi Arabia, she was taken to a farmer's family in a place called Sakaka, located more than 1,200 kilometers from the capital city. She's never been to Saudi Arabia, so she didn't know where she was being taken. And when they got there, she was forced to wait on a family of 18 people. Every day, she would wash all their dishes as well as their clothes. Every day she would clean 18 rooms, she would clean 7 toilets and bathrooms, she would feed 100 chickens, and when the sun goes down, she has to go and work in the farm, which they call shamba. And on top of that, she would go without food for days because they only fed her whenever they felt like. In fact, there was a time she was locked in the chicken shed that was outside in the harsh desert heat of Saudi Arabia, and you know, the chilly nights, and they locked her there for 3 days without food. So keep in mind, all this happened in June of this year. I said that so you know that this is still going on. Now, to cut a long story short, one day she discovered some blood-stained female clothes inside a trash can, as well as a Safaricom SIM card, which they use in Kenya, and a 50 shilling airtime scratch card. So she put 2 and 2 together and realized, wait a minute, if this is a Kenyan SIM card with 50 shillings still on it, and these are female clothes stained with blood in a trash can, she was like, there must have been another Kenyan woman here before she came, and that woman must have been killed. So she decided to call her agent that this is what she found, and she wants to leave the house immediately, which to me was not that smart, because this same agent was the one that got you in the mess that you're in. Why trust him to get you out of it? Unfortunately for Joyce, that agent decided to call her employers and told them that, hey, the new lady found out what happened to the last lady. So as a punishment, they locked her up in the chicken shed for more than a week. During that time, she fed on whatever was left over by the chickens. However, none of them in that family wanted to touch the chicken manure, which had been piling up since they locked her up, because she was the one doing all the work. So because they needed her to clean up the chicken manure, they released her in order for her to clean it up. And that day, while she was disposing the chicken manure, she discovered the graves of 2 former employees. So she realized, hey, it wasn't just one maid that had been killed before I came. 2 people had been killed before I came. So guess what she did? She piled some junk and some woods on top of a wheelbarrow and climbed over the fence of the compound and then started running for her life. She's never been to Saudi, like I said. She had no clue where she was going, but she said she kept running like a mad woman anywhere but where she was, until she met a good Samaritan, someone who gave her some food and called the police. Now, according to Joyce, 2 policemen came to get her, but on their way to the police station, they took turns to rape her. Yes, policemen. I know. But that's not all. When she got to the police station, they put her in jail and she was there for almost 2 months. Actually, she met about 50 other Kenyan women in that jail while she was there. But she was very lucky because a female police officer finally pitied her and decided to call her owners and made them buy her return tickets back to Kenya, as well as made them drive her to the airport. And of course, on the way to the airport, that family physically assaulted her. They beat her up, they tore her dress. But you know what? She's just glad to make it back to Kenya alive. Now, this is actually not Joyce. This is one of the people that were crying as Joyce was sharing her story with the press. For now, we are not seeing Joyce's picture because of all that she's been through, because of the stigma. But if only I can explain how I felt when I read her story. I was furious that anybody would treat a human being like that. I don't know why many Saudi Arabians are treating Africans like this and getting away with it. As you know, this is not peculiar to Kenyans. Ethiopians are treated the same way. I've talked about this in the past. In fact, there are several pictures of Ethiopians killed in Saudi Arabia, men and women. But how come this is still happening after they deported thousands of immigrants from Saudi Arabia? How come they are still treating people like this? I found out that Saudi Arabia's sponsorship system known as kafala ties employment visas to employers, indirectly turning voluntary servitude to slavery. They do this to Asians as well. They would arrange a resident permit by recruiting agencies that match the worker to the household, and then they would charge both parties a recruitment fee. So now the workers will become indebted to the agencies. A typical workday for domestic workers in Saudi Arabia is between 15 to 18 hours in a day. Imagine somebody working straight for 18 hours in a day out of 24 hours, and they pay them about $5 to $7 per day. And guess what? Some of these employers would refuse to pay the employees for a long time. In fact, sometimes for years, they may not pay their employees. They would say, we're giving you food, we're giving you a place to sleep, even if it's outside. They would say, what do you need the money for? So many employers have actually killed their employees if they keep asking for their money. There are no off days, no rest hours, there is no vacation, no nothing. As you know, slavery was officially abolished in Saudi Arabia in 1960. At that time though, there were about 300,000 slaves still in Saudi Arabia. Even though it was abolished on paper, hey, the practice continued unofficially. First of all, when will our people in Africa learn that the grass is not necessarily greener on the other side and that not all the glitter is gold? I mean, we've been hearing stories like this for a long time, yet there are people who are still bent on taking their chances. As bad as it was for Joyce, she's actually very lucky. Very lucky, because several women were not able to escape for years. I've read stories of women who escaped after 2 years, after 4 years, and some were actually killed by their owners. Some men are treated the same way. In fact, 2 years ago, a Saudi man was advertising a male slave on Facebook, and he stated that they've castrated the man, rendering him impotent. This is the English version of what he said. So this is the thing. If you're not going to Saudi for tourism or for pilgrimage or to take up a professional job, please be careful. Please and please be careful. Again, I wish that African leaders would just develop our countries so that our people would not continue to suffer in the hands of such people in the name of searching for better life. And lastly, if you know someone or someone who knows someone who's desperate to get out of his or her country without knowing anything about where they're going, and please warn them to be familiar with where they're going. At least be able to speak the language of where you're going. Don't go anywhere because you got a contract from anyone. Really, Saudi Arabia, for how long would you treat Africans like this? And you know, I can't help but remember that hashtag that was started by Ethiopians when so many of them were being deported from Saudi Arabia. They had this hashtag called "Someone Tell Saudi Arabia." Someone tell Saudi Arabia that you cannot continue to treat human beings like this. Someone tell Saudi Arabia that just because the color of our skin is different from yours doesn't mean you're better in any way. Someone tell Saudi Arabia that the world is watching. We know what is going on. Someone tell Saudi Arabia that enough is enough. Someone tell Saudi Arabia that this will not go on for long. Someday, Africa will take its rightful place among the rising continents. Someone tell Saudi Arabia. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Moving on to Swaziland, the king has decided to start paying young girls $18 per month in order to encourage them to keep their virginity. Yes, you heard me. You heard me, eh? By the way, my dear, why this sudden interest in girls keeping their virginity? Do you think this has anything to do with the latest bride? I mean, Naughty Cindy, or what do they call her, eh? Because no be me talk more, but I heard that the girl was not a virgin after all, you know? Yeah, so I heard that she had dated 2 of the king's sons and other people as well, that she had done it before marrying the king. So maybe the king found out that the girl had done it before he did it to her, and so he was like, huh? What in the world? How can a girl do it before I do it to her? No, this must not happen again. By that I mean like kiss, you know? Yeah, she did it before the king went to her. Anyway, of course, people started talking. You know how people are now, they have to talk. They said this whole thing of paying girls $18 is to make sure that the girls avoid sex in order to ensure an HIV-free population of virgins who could become the king's future wives. In other words, they want the king to be able to choose without being afraid of HIV/AIDS, and that is to tell you that he's not done. So don't be surprised if next year he marries another one. So hey, he's just trying to ensure himself, because Swaziland actually has the highest rate of HIV/AIDS in the world. You get what I'm saying? And of course, the royal family denied it. They said, this has nothing to do with the king choosing another bride. No. I'm sure that you guys believe the royal family. Unfortunately though, for the king, the girls are not buying it. They are not excited about the $18 per month. They're saying, what is $18? $18 is not sufficient to discourage them from accepting gifts from older men that they call sugar daddy. I thought we only have sugar daddies in Nigeria. In fact, one of the girls, 16-year-old Manzini Fakude, said that today's girls need things. She said they need things like airtime for their cell phones, and $18 is not enough. She said that's how much the government is giving her gogo, which is her grandmother, $18 per month. And then another girl, 17-year-old Thandit Fala, said that a girl could get $18 for just one sex act, so the government needs to pay more than that. I was like, what? You know, I didn't know that people make money by doing it. Look at a small girl, 17-year-old, making money by doing it. This one has come to an end. This is what happens when someone is trying to do cosmetic stuff instead of dealing with the root cause of the problem, instead of focusing on eradicating poverty in Swaziland, which was why a lot of these girls turned to sugar daddies in the first place. Instead, you want to be paying them $18? Who are you really fooling? The World Bank said that 70% of Swazi people live in absolute poverty. The reason why they have to use the word absolute, I don't know. You can just say 70% live in poverty. Anyway, I'm trying to say that 70% of the people are living in poverty, and then you're trying to tell them to keep their virginity with $18. Like really? They said their parents cannot even afford to give them money to buy pads, and you want them to be saving themselves with $18. So if you don't eradicate poverty, Mr. President, no, really, your virgins may continue to go out with sugar daddies. Yes, in exchange for money. Now, I'm not crucifying these girls because I don't know the full picture of their situation, but I personally don't believe that poverty is an excuse ever to, to do it with someone you are not married to. I mean, I know you can still call me old school. I don't believe you should do it with whoever you're not married to. I don't do it. If you are not married, you are not married. Anyway, but I found this video. It's a documentary about Swaziland, and I was really shocked at the level of poverty. Take a look.
These are the shacks where our people live.
Yeah,
this is somebody's house.
Just compare this with the palace that the king lives.
This is the intestines that we are selling. They come from the dam site, you know. These people, they go there and take these intestines and come and sell it here. This is not a joke. This is really life. This is what is happening. This is what they are going to have for lunch.
Whereas the king is eating pizzas.
This homestead has been here for almost 50 years. Now we are ended up being employed by the construction to demolish our own homes.
Yes.
We don't know whether our king loves us or our king thinks that we are criminals, enemies.
If everyone can be aware of what is happening in Swaziland, you know, everything will just be okay.
They don't want to.
They're hiding, eh?
They're hiding. They don't want to show you what you how we live. It's what the community thinks here. Just look at this.
Yeah, that's the situation. Now that video is old. It was shot in 2007, so it is old. So it's possible that things have gotten better, I don't know. But if girls are still saying they would prefer to sell their bodies rather than collect your $18 per month in 2014, then that tells me that not much has changed. And it's not as if the king is not aware of what's going on. He knows what the people are going through.
When you speak to the people, you can feel that the people are living under poverty line, which in many cases we feel we have to do something. And then you see sometimes that you wish to help them, but funds are always not enough.
Really? What do you mean funds are not enough? Look at this guy.
Do you want the jet?
We should find out from the government if I need a jet.
Well, you're the king. You're the king. You decide. You appoint the prime minister, you appoint the cabinet. They do what you tell them to do. Do you want the jet?
I don't always say this is what I want. They come to me, they give me advice, and from their advice I am able to act.
A $45 million global express bombardier.
Yeah, now you know why funds have never been enough when it comes to eradicating poverty in Swaziland. So he bought a $45 million private jet, but he had funds for that. And by the way, the people are tired of living like that. In fact, listen to what some of them are saying.
It is now clear to everybody we can't take this any longer. We cannot go to South Africa and ask for guns. We cannot go to America and ask for guns, but we can creep at night with our knives and kill them. So that is in Baghdad. You see people beheaded. A knife is about 20 rand. There we can do it. It's only time and proper organizing.
You see why it's dangerous to keep people in abject poverty? By the way, I love the fact that even their pastors are speaking out. It's not just the people.
Forcing the people to worship under oppression. Mighty Bible,
yeah, we need men of God like that in Nigeria. Yeah, men of God that wouldn't be afraid to say the truth, you know? You can watch the full documentary online. The title is Without the King. That's the title. So as long as the king is still the one appointing all cabinet members and all the judges and 1/3 of the parliament, as well as the prime minister, that is not democracy. No matter what changes he made to the law, that's still not democracy. Let the people have real life, not just you and your family. Eradicate poverty, feed your people, take care of your people. Stop dashing them $18 like they are beggars. Really? That's actually insultive. But you guys know that I don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So last week, remember I featured a guy that said he's on Penguin, he wants a woman yellow in complexion. Anyway, I got a lot of emails from people asking me to send them the full link of his video or other videos that the guy has. And it's so funny because someone actually emailed me to tell me more about the guy. And this is from Malcolm Face, and he says, "Hi Adeola." The guy is actually the son of the activist, the popular Nigerian activist lawyer Femi Falana. And then he said his dad then allow him to produce music until he was called to bar. So he is a lawyer by day and an entertainer by night. And then he said this is his new video released on October 1st. So the title of the song is How Far. You can find him on YouTube. The song is really, really nice, by the way. He talked about how there's really nothing to show for the past 54 years of independence. So we enjoy what you're doing, Files, just in case you get to watch this program. Also, last week I talked about how some Nigerians are treated in Malaysia, and someone brought to my attention that I didn't do justice, which is true. It's not all Nigerians that are treated like that. If you learn to obey the law, abide by the law, you will not be treated like that. So please, all my people in Malaysia, don't break the law, don't get in trouble. That's when things like this happen. I actually know a lot of Nigerians that are living in Malaysia and they're doing really well. Having said that, I'm not saying that it's right for any Nigerian citizen to be treated like this, because if an American citizen breaks the law in Malaysia, I still don't think they would be treated like this. And I'm sure there are American citizens in Malaysia as well. I'm just saying that we can minimize this if we don't break the law. Before I leave today, I'd like to read some of your emails. And the first one is from Victoria Onyewe. And she says, hi Adeola, love your 140th episode and your dressing, Sisieko. Oh, thank you. She called me Sisieko. Thank you, Yari. I fill out applications sometimes for a job, and I've been writing not applicable on my application when it comes to hobby. You've been missing out, my sister. Little did I know that I've been denying myself an opportunity to shine. Yaya Jermaine of Gambia listed one of his hobbies as browsing the internet. Yes, he did, actually. Yes, he did. It is good to know because I'm going to go and update my resume this evening. And I will not forget to include the fact that eating is one of my hobbies. Really? I wish you good luck with that. In fact, you can write sleeping, put everything. I mean, we can learn a lesson or two from Yaya Jamin. Why not? Our next email is from Abba Ali Abacha, and he says, hi Adeola. A student left Yobe State in Nigeria for Ghana because of the Boko Haram insurgency in order to go and study, and he was gunned down by Ghanaian area boys who were after his gadgets and money. Wow, I am so sorry. This is sad. In fact, Adeola, Ghana sees us Nigerians as dollars. It's very tragic. So many Nigerian students have died in Ghana. Wow, this is sad. I didn't know about this. I'm so sorry for your loss. May his soul rest in peace, and please accept my condolences. Please, if any Nigerian official is watching and hearing about this email, please, let's do something about the fact that some Nigerians are being killed that went abroad to study. And it's not just in Ghana. There are so many places where Nigerian students are facing all kinds of difficulties. Please, let's do something about it. Our next email is from Michael Madu, and he says, hi Adeola, I just want to say you should keep it up. I really love watching your program. Thank you so much. I only wish our government also watches your program, but then I don't think they have the conscience to take corrections. A concerned citizen, Michael in Turkey. Thank you so much, Michael. It's gonna take time to change so many things, but the reason we are doing this show is just for them to know that we're aware of all the atrocities. We are not stupid. Hopefully they will take to corrections, but what do I know, really? Thank you though for writing. Our next email is from Hirut Lisan Work. She's Ethiopian, but she lives here in the US. She says, hi Adeola, thank you for the powerful message you posted on your show last week. You are a true friend of Ethiopians. Oh, thank you so much, especially for those voiceless Ethiopians languishing in Wayene prison. Thank you so much. This means a lot coming from you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for writing. And our last email is from Mrs. Balogun, and she likes me to feature a young man by the name Ahmed Balogun, who recently became the student president of his school, University of Wyoming. Yes, so go bro. And guess what? He is the first international student to be elected president. Can you imagine that? Now that's inspiring. In case you're an international student, you're watching me, and you're from Africa, let his story inspire you. You can also contest for any of these offices. I mean, why not? If it could be anyone, why not you? So if that's your dream, hey, go after it, because he did it and he won. So we're very proud of you, Ahmed, as well as your running mate, Ricardo. I'm guessing that Mrs. Balogun is probably his mom, and I'm sure that she's very, very proud of him. Congratulations, ma'am. Alright guys, that's all the time that I have for emails today. Please keep sending your emails to adeola.keepingitreal@gmail.com. Alright y'all, it's been real, and I'm keeping it real right up in here. Until next week, I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace out.
Welcome to Swazi Luxury Hotel. At Swazi Luxury Hotel, we offer excellent service. Our rooms have all the necessary facilities to make your stay comfortable and memorable. You will also have access to internet service, breakfast, 24-hour power supply, full air condition, free international calls, free tire pumping service, and free car battery charge. So what are you waiting for? Quickly visit Swazi Luxury Hotel. We are located at #1 Adeola off Raji Rasaki Road, First Estate, Amuwo, Odofin Festac, Lagos. For more information or reservation, please call us on 080-7578-7135 or 080-9990-0601. You can also take advantage of our online ongoing promo at www.swazihotel.com to make your reservation and payment for your favorite room, which attracts a discount rate. Please note, rooms are reserved based on first come, first serve. Swazi Luxury Hotel. Experience the home of comfort. They come.